Hello Internet, what's going on? Well, you should know who I am by now.
If not, that's likely because your mind has suppressed the horrible memories of his videos.
Thanks for the support, Lacondon.
It wasn't support, dipstick.
That's right, I'm Ricardo the Cynical Critic, here to review the 4th episode of the critically acclaimed web series, RWBY. Last time we had a pretty interesting episode as a good deal happened.
Our four girls begin their escapade into finding out what the plot is for this show, as they, along with their new friends Sun and Neptune, split up to cover more ground. Weiss and RWBY head out as a pair to please the White Rose fandom. Neptune is sent along with Yang to piss off the Bumblebeers, and Blake and Sun are teamed up together, which still gives me racist vibes. Shouldn't expect nothing less of those Texans. Each team has a plan to try and make sense of what the White Fang and Torchwick may be up to, because again, the writers don't know how to tell us. Sun and Blake decide to head straight for the source, as Belladonna says that she knows of an old location that the White Fang used to hang out in. Yang and Neptune head out for the other shady side of town to speak with an old friend, and the White Rose is left behind to make a few calls to Schneedust headquarters from the library.
Oh, no, that would have been the smart and efficient way to go about it.
Nope. Instead, the two decide to head directly to the CCTS tower, all because little Miss Team Leader wanted to see the stupid building. Well, there she comes across an old face. Penny! Ditching the White Rose for the nuts and bolts, RWBY leaves Weiss to make the call as she makes one of her own. RWBY just needs to learn to share her new toy with Weiss. Preferably at the same time. We get a really interesting and character-developing scene with Weiss getting information from her father's company. That is sadly cut short so that we can hear Penny reveal that she doesn't know anything about the plot either. Shocking. After seeing some new robots that certainly won't become important later on, Penny is chased by some guards, and in an attempt to lose them, RWBY stumbles in the street, and instead of getting them both out of the way, Penny shoves RWBY aside so that she can show her BFF her impression of Hancock. Afterwards, we discover that Penny's name is kinda ironic, as both she and the coin are made of metal and are equally worthless. No, bad Richard! Delete the joke and start over! I mean, it turns out when it comes to Penny, there's more than meets the eye. That one wasn't good either! It looks like this Tin Man has a heart. Penny's a robot. Wonder if she has any vibration protocols.
And that's pretty much where the video ended, so let's jump right in and see what happens next. Lacondon, roll a clip.
Skip. We return to our two little criminals, as the sad Penny tells RWBY that she is the first synthetic human capable of having an aura, aka this world's version of a life force. However, RWBY tells her BFF that it doesn't matter to her, as she knows that Penny is a real girl, synthetic or not.
You're not like those things we saw back there.
Oh, so that scene of the robots was for something.
Too bad it was in the previous episode and we really didn't get a reaction out of Penny.
Oh, RWBY, you're the best friend anyone could have. Oh, I can see why your father would want to protect such a delicate flower.
Penny then explains that the person that she's been calling father, ironically, was the same person who built her, with the help of Ironwood, of course. I wonder if Glinda had a hand in it as well. Penny goes on to explain that she was created to help save the world, which is why she's here for the Vital Festival, cause you gotta get that Turing test eventually. Understandably, with our current writers, RWBY is a little confused, saying that this is a time of peace. But before more can be said, the guards finally catch up to them.
You have to hide.
Hey RWBY fans, this is what Penny thinks of your waifu.
Classic.
Hey! Don't you make fun of my waifu. Genderbend Pinocchio then tells Little Red Riding Hood that she needs to keep quiet as she doesn't want her friend getting into trouble with the guards, and also asks RWBY if she can keep her secret.
Why would knowing that Penny's an android be a problem? I have no freaking clue! Maybe this is how Skynet came to be.
The guards then arrive, reprimand the little Terminator for running off and getting into trouble, and then tell her that her father isn't going to be happy about this as they walk off with her. We then cut to later on in the day, as Yang arrives to her destination. As to what she was doing beforehand to make her so late, I can't fathom. I think you answered your own question, cause I'm pretty sure it had something to do with the words doing and hand. And possibly the number 69. Hey, you know what they say, buy is fly.
I'm gonna pretend that I didn't hear that.
You and the Bumblebee fans. Or would that make them even hornier?
Moving on!
Well, like I said, Yang arrives at the dance club.
Come on, my friend's right in here.
Okay, that face confirms my theory.
Stop!
Well, apparently Yang's friend turns out to be Junior from the Yellow trailer.
He's coming!
Hey guys, you know me. I always arrive with a Yang.
God
Yeah, so could you define friend for me?
Stop! Blondie, you're here. Why?
You still owe me a drink.
Wait, aren't you underage?
What a woman. Sup?
Whatever.
Yep, that's an accurate interaction Carrie has with girls. Yeah, for those who are wondering, that's Carrie Shawcross, one of the writers of RWBY. Except Neptune's twice as tall and half the weight. We then leave Carrie to wallow in his pathetic life as we cut to Blake and Sun arriving at one of the secret recruitment meetings of the White Fang.
New recruits, keep to the right.
I don't get it. If you believe what you're doing is right, why hide who you are?
The masks are a symbol. Humanity wanted to make monsters out of us, so we chose to don the faces of monsters.
Grim masks? That's kind of dark.
I'd agree. But this show can't seem to decide on whether or not it wants the Grimm to be the ravenous monsters hell-bent on our destruction, or goofy cannon fodder that's wiped out on mass by a bunch of kids.
The two then enter the Screwdriver concert where they find out that Roman is there to meet them all.
Thank you. Please, hold your applause.
What's a human doing here?
Pretty ironic that the group fighting against racism is racist themselves. Realistic, but ironic all the same.
But at least Roman gets her back.
I'm glad you asked, dearie.
Get it? Because she's got antlers. You know, the more I start thinking about the faunas, the more I'm confused on why they have certain animal features. And the more I think about that, the more icky I start to feel. So I'm just gonna move on. Again, as long as you have a great rack and look sexy in fur, you be as weird as you want to, baby. Okay, so Roman begins to rally up the crowd with a rant on how stupid, incompetent, and oppressive the government is. Along with the police, the military, the schools, the hospitals, the libraries, the pony farms, the other pony farms, and pretty much anyone who's got power of some kind over these people. As his speech quickly devolves into that of an angsty 14-year-old emo kid complaining about how mean and stupid mom and dad are, which only other angsty kids would fall for. So naturally, pretty much the whole crowd buys into it as Sun voices my inner thoughts.
So is he going somewhere with this, or...?
Okay, no. Time out. How the fuck did he manage to steal that? For those who don't remember, that's the Paladin Knight that the Atlas government recently designed. So this isn't like just stealing a few crates of materia. I mean dust.
This would be the equivalent of stealing a fucking tank! I mean, how would you go about finding that? Did you just walk around asking people?
Hey guys, I'm cosplaying as Solid Snake. Does anybody have a Metal Gear I can borrow?
How did he get that?
See, Blake agrees with me. Thank you, girlfriend. Hey, stop hitting on one of my waifus. And what's even worse is apparently, thanks to Cinder, they managed to steal a few of these. That's right. Somehow they have stolen a couple of these tank-on-legs machines without there being a massive panic about it. God damn it! Anyways, the Black Sun thinks that it is about time for them to leave when new recruits are called forward, which is a perfect opportunity to switch to a different scene to leave the audience in suspense. Even though this is a cliche move and we all know that Blake and Sun are going to be alright. Back with Yang, Jr. and Carrie, we find out that Jr. don't know too much. Turns out that Roman only dealt with him once, and then Jr. never saw him or his men again. With nothing else to gain, Blue and Yellow leave the club, as we cut back to Blake and Sun, who finally get recognized by Torchwick. Took him long enough. I mean, I can understand Blake as she's missing her bow and in a different outfit, but Sun is still wearing the same clothes, which probably smell terrible by now. And dude got Mario'd by him for crying out loud. But before Roman could do anything, Blake shoots the circuits, killing the lights as they make a run for it. However, it doesn't matter as Roman, oh yes, himself through the wall in hot pursuit. Seeing that they're in a pickle, or in Blake's case, a cucumber, she calls upon her friends. Super friends, assemble! Incidentally, how long has Weiss been at that tower and Ruby in the dumpster? Last time we left them, it was clearly daylight, but it's nightfall and only now are they leaving?
Anyways, I got bigger things to complain about, like them running across town and onto a highway, and me wondering, where the hell are the cops? Did somebody go,
"Hey, Chief, Terrence says that Dunkin' Donuts are way better than Krispy Kremes."
What? That's it. I've had it with Terrence. Call everybody in. We're having a taste test to end this debate once and for all.
Hey, Chief, we're getting a report that a giant-ass robot is wrecking things up in I-90.
Even more reason to ignore our jobs.
I mean, seriously, this is the worst police force since...
No, it's like you said, they're a hell lot smarter. I mean, are you gonna pull this guy over and ask for a license and registration?
Anyways, we get an awesome scene here, and I think you know what's coming.
Boss fight! Fight! Okay, here we go. The cousins are dead as Roman tries to shake off Yang. Neptune and Sun attempt to help, but we can't have those annoying boys in our boss battle count, can we, girls? No, we can't. Weiss manages to get Roman off the road by using the same tactic as every ice level in every game ever. But instead of losing a life, Roman sticks the landing as the girls get ready to engage him.
Razorman! Checkmate! Ladybug! Bumblebee! Ice Flower!
So this is where it began. Rooster Teeth, what have you done?
Bumblebee!
You're the ones that brought this upon us. All the hate, all the arguing over which ships are canon, all the embarrassment that has befallen us who simply want to watch the show in peace without perverted fanboys drooling all over everything. You're to blame. What have we done?
Yeah, you messed up the last one. It's White Rose, not Ice Flower.
Conan, please don't encourage the perverts.
Anywho, ignoring all that cringy and disturbing ideas, the girls begin to execute a well-choreographed fight. Weiss and Yang lay down some cover as RWBY, Blake, and Weiss go in for some strikes. And as Weiss is knocked back, she puts her main skills to work as she supercharges Blake, which allows her and RWBY to finally land a heavy blow, taking off one of the mech suit's arms. Yang jumps onto the back and begins blasting away. However, Roman simply leaps backwards, smashing her through 2 concrete pillars before fucking punching her through a third.
Rooster Teeth, if you hurt my Yang, Satan help you, because God won't be able to spare you from my fury.
Jeez, dude, chill out. You think Monty would knock off Yang so early in the show?
Okay, sorry. Got a little out of hand.
Also, it sounded like you said, "Don't hurt my wang." Well, I'm not the only one worried about Yang, as Blake calls out to her boo. But it seems our worry is for nothing, as RWBY explains that Yang's semblance grants her the ability to become stronger with each physical hit, letting her go Super Saiyan!
Oh God, kill me.
You know, I have a feeling that there's a sticker somewhere on the back that says, "Assembled in Atlas, parts made in Mistral." Well, Blake and Yang decide to end this by doing their round-the-world roundhouse. But even though he ain't got no arms, it's just a flesh wound. Roman keeps on fighting, dodging their attacks. But not for long, as Weiss and RWBY freeze up his parts, allowing Yang to deal the final blow. And since I already used this end credit joke for my yellow trailer end credit clip, I'll use it now. And he's perfectly alright. So apart from shoddy durability, it's pretty cool that the engineers designed it so that the operator can survive after it blows up. That, or once again, we have another one of the many errors, fails, glitches, or just plain old inconsistencies of this show. Who the fuck are you?
Apart from a few times this episode, I don't think we've ever seen you before.
Well, this new character, Neo, uses some sort of weird voodoo or something to shatter teleport them to a shuttle, leaving Weiss to steal Yang's line.
Yeah, I guess she really made our plans fall apart.
God damn it, Bart!
Well, at least I'm trying. Wait, where's Sun and Neptune?
Excellent point! They're at the in-joke restaurant for assholes, those team-ditching dicks. And with that pathetic joke, there's not mine, the episode ends.
And I don't think I have to tell you how good this episode was, because I think most of us can agree that it was awesome! But I am a critic, and that means that I not only have a masochistic tendency, but I also like destroying all that I love and hold dear. So join me as I jump upon the nitpick train!
And the first thing I like to earn your rage over is on the fight we just got. No, it's not about the cops. Not yet, at least. It's actually because we got the fight. Say what? What you talking about, Richard? Well, it's the fact that we're only a third through this volume, and this felt like a mid-season battle. It feels almost like they're... Little kids, cover your ears. Again, dude, they've heard worse. Blowing their load a bit early. I mean, seriously, this is the kind of fight that is built up over the course of a few episodes, like the one we got with the two Grimm back in Volume 1. I guess you could say that this bodes well, for it must mean that Rooster Teeth has now got the budget for multiple fights. But I'm a cynical bastard, and I like to think the worst of things.
And since I'm on the nitpick train, and despite the fact that I want to build this channel up, let's jump on another issue that I had with this fight, and that is, where are the cops?
There's a reason we keep bringing this cliche question up. With movies and shows trying to be a bit more realistic so the danger feels more threatening, it's small and simple things like this that lose our suspension of disbelief. And worse is that this wouldn't have taken much, just a little shout out over the radio that the cops are trying to mobilize, but the robot was moving too fast and unpredictably. Hell, they could have just thrown in a helicopter to beam lights and order the robot to cease and desist. But I guess that was a little too much for the poor widow Animatorth.
Well, yeah, when are cops in shows ever competent? Except when it's about them, of course.
What is also a problem is how the hell do they manage to steal several of those?
This isn't like knocking off a couple of dust doors. Again, this is like stealing a freaking tank. Plus, aren't they still under development? Or at the very least just recently finished? So wouldn't they be under a hell of a lot more security? I mean, doesn't it have some sort of tracking device built into it? Why would Atlas not know that some of them have been stolen? And if they did, wouldn't the police be on high alert? It's ridiculous.
But before I lose any more of you to blind hatred, it looks like the nitpick train is finally arriving at Criticism Central. So let's disembark from here and spend a little time at Angel's Advocate Cafe.
And the first thing I like to point out in a positive tone is how this makes Cinder a more formidable foe. You have to wonder just how much influence does she have in Vale? I mean, we've seen this sort of thing before. Remember back in Volume 1 where she managed to get it so that they could fly into an empty harbor to steal giant crates of dust? Same principle here, and I suppose you could argue that this means that she has some sort of influence over the police force as well.
With a rack like that, she probably has more than just influence over them.
And talking about power over people, how much does she have over Roman to make him so dedicated that he would readily chase after Blake and Son? I mean, wouldn't he have just sent some goons or just simply laughed at bees since they're just meddling kids instead of chasing after them himself? Also, this has got to be out of his comfort zone to now be stealing from the military of Atlas. And yet, he's still going along with it.
Let's also remember what those mechs were made for. They were made to defend the country against Grimm.
How scary and dangerous does that subconsciously make them now? That not only mankind would need superhero-like people, but also giant-ass Metal Gear ripoffs just so that they can defend themselves against these monsters. And since we're talking about robots, let's talk about Penny.
Hey, you leave my penny pal alone.
It actually has some pretty interesting implications. As we learned back in Volume 1 from the other waifu, only living things have an aura, and of those, only sentient beings can activate it. This all means that Penny must be a living, sentient being to have an activated aura of her own.
But do you hear that? It seems that the nitpick train is about to depart.
God fucking damn it.
Time to jump aboard!
Yeah, that didn't take me long. And the reason I'm going back to the dark side is because of Ruby's reaction to Penny's revelation. The fact of the matter is that there really wasn't one. Sure, she seemed a little surprised, but she got over it so quickly that it kind of ruined the moment. And that seemed to be the pattern throughout this episode. Just fast forwarding till we get to the robot fight. Ruby learns that her friend is synthetic and likely has an identity crisis every single day. Just slap a quick reaction and move on. Junior, the man who knows all the dirty dealings in town, doesn't know about the White Fang and their plans. No time to dwell on that. Shoot. We see that seemingly normal people are willing to turn to crime and terror because of how badly they're being treated. You think we're going to be focusing on that complex and interesting character insight? Hell no, we got a robo fight to get to.
Again and again, we get so close at developing these characters' plot and world, and the show passes it all by, just giving them minimal amount of screen time so we can get to a fight. Yes, an awesome fight, but when it comes at the cost of sacrificing development, is it really worth it?
Sure it is. I mean, did you see how badass my girls were? Along with how bad my girls' asses are? God damn.
You know, a lot of people say this show isn't an anime.
Yeah, a lot of fucking idiots.
But this is exactly how a normal anime would act. Focus on the style and spectacle, and only put the minimal amount of effort towards story and characters.
And for those who can't figure it out for themselves, that is not a good thing. It is never a good sign to see a show cut out character development and world building just so that it can have a cool action scene. Especially considering when the previous episode was pretty good in both aspects.
I don't know. While I still think this episode was good, it does make me a little wary of future episodes, since they would so easily cut down on the important stuff. I guess I'll just have to keep watching and hope for the best.
But you already know how it turns out.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. With me, no movie's sacred, no video's safe, but all deserve a chance. I'll catch you guys next time. Toodles!
Come, Patsy.
None shall pass.
What?
None shall pass.
So be it. Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've had worse.
You liar.
Come on, you pansy.
Victory is mine.
Come on, then.
Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left.
Just a flesh wound. I'm invincible! All right, we'll call it a draw. Oh, I see. Running away, eh? You